The most powerful anti-aging habits cost absolutely nothing. Take less than 5 minutes a day, and most doctors never mention them. Why? Because they can't be prescribed, can't be bottled, can't be sold. They're so simple they seem too easy to matter, so obvious they get overlooked completely. But the people who practice them naturally without even thinking of them as health interventions, they age differently. Slower, gentler, better. Their skin stays more supple. Their minds stay sharper. Their bodies stay more mobile. And when asked their secret, they usually shrug, say they don't do anything special, say they're just living. But there's more to it than that. There's a pattern, a collection of small daily habits that together create something remarkable. My name is Annie, and I've spent years watching people age, not in a medical way, just in the way that comes from paying attention, from noticing who ages well and who doesn't, from looking for patterns in the daily lives of people who stay vibrant at 70, 80, 90. And what I've found is that the most effective habits are the ones nobody talks about, the ones hidden in plain sight, the ones that seem too simple, too ordinary, too unglamorous to possibly make a difference. But they do. They really do. There was an aunt, Aunt Marie. She lived to 93 and looked 20 years younger than her age right up until the last year. Her skin was smooth. Her eyes were bright. Her mind was sharp, and everyone wanted to know her secret. What supplements did she take? What diet did she follow? What exercise routine? And she'd laugh and say she didn't do anything special, just lived her life. But watching her closely over the years, there was something she did, something so simple and constant that it had become invisible. She always had water nearby, not in a health-conscious way, not measuring intake or forcing herself to drink, just water. Always within reach, a glass on the counter, a bottle in the car, a cup on the table, and she'd sip it throughout the day, not gulping, not chugging, just consistent small sips. And that habit, that simple, constant hydration, kept her skin plump and healthy, kept her joints lubricated, kept her digestion smooth, kept her energy steady, kept every system in her body functioning better than it would have otherwise. But nobody mentions this to people over 60. Nobody says the single most important thing is consistent hydration. It's too simple, too boring, too obvious. And yet, looking at the people who age well versus those who don't, hydration is often one of the quiet dividing lines. The ones who stay hydrated age slower. The ones who don't, who go hours without drinking, who live in a state of chronic, mild dehydration, they age faster. Their skin wrinkles earlier and deeper. Their joints hurt more. Their organs struggle more. All from something as simple as not drinking enough water consistently throughout the day. As the years passed, another pattern emerged. Another habit so simple it seemed irrelevant. But the people who practiced it aged remarkably well, chewing thoroughly, really chewing, taking time with food, not rushing meals. There was a man, a neighbor named Frank, who ate so slowly it almost seemed excessive. He'd take a bite and chew it completely, 20, 30 times, until the food was nearly liquid, and then swallow. And then another bite, and he was never overweight, never had digestive issues, never seemed to have the health problems that plagued so many of his peers. And he lived to 91 looking and acting like he was 75. That habit, that thorough chewing, did several things. It allowed his body to actually digest and absorb nutrients properly. It prevented overeating because his body had time to register fullness. It reduced stress on his digestive system. It made meals more satisfying with less food, and it probably contributed to his maintained healthy weight and clear mind. But nobody tells people to chew their food thoroughly. It sounds like something a mother tells a child. Too basic, too simple, too beneath mention. And yet, its impact on aging is substantial. I remember another moment. Another habit that seemed so small but made such a difference. breathing deeply, just a few times a day, taking actual deep breaths. There was a woman named Alina. She was a friend of my mother's, and she had this habit. Several times throughout the day, she'd pause, just stop whatever she was doing, and take 3 or 4 really deep breaths, full breaths, breathing all the way in, holding for a moment, breathing all the way out, and then continuing with her day. And Alina aged so well. She was calm when others were stressed, healthy when others were sick, energetic when others were tired. And that breathing habit, that simple practice of oxygenating her body fully several times a day, made more difference than most people would believe. It calmed her nervous system, reduced inflammation, improved her sleep, supported her heart, cleared her mind, all from something that took 30 seconds and cost nothing. But here's something most people don't realize until it's mentioned. Want to know one of the easiest ways to predict how someone will age? Look at whether they can stand up from a chair without using their hands. That single ability, that simple movement, tells more about aging trajectory than almost anything else. There's something else I still think about often. The habit of stretching, just a few minutes, every day. Nothing complicated, nothing requiring a class or equipment, just simple stretching. There was a neighbor, an older man named George. Every morning, he'd spend about 5 minutes stretching, in his living room, in his pajamas, just reaching and bending and loosening everything up. And he maintained flexibility and mobility that people 30 years younger envied. Could still touch his toes at 84. Could still get down on the floor and back up again. Could still move through his house and his life without the stiffness and limitation that plagued so many of his peers. That daily stretching kept his muscles long, kept his joints mobile, kept his spine flexible, prevented the hunching and shrinking and stiffening that so many people accept as inevitable. But it's not inevitable, it's preventable, through something as simple as 5 minutes of gentle stretching every day. But nobody emphasizes this to people over 60. Nobody says this 5-minute daily practice will determine how mobile you are at 80. It's too simple, too accessible, too free. And so it gets overlooked, and people lose mobility they could have kept. Another memory returns to me now. The habit of touching the ground, walking barefoot on grass, sitting with hands in soil, connecting skin directly to earth. There was a woman who gardened every day, not elaborately, just tending a small plot, but every single day her hands were in soil, touching earth, and she aged remarkably well. Her hands stayed nimble, her mind stayed clear, her mood stayed steady. And there's something to that connection, something that modern life has stripped away. Something that people who maintain it seem to benefit from in ways that are hard to measure but easy to see. Some call it grounding, some call it earthing. Whatever the name, the practice is simple. Skin touching earth, feet on grass, hands in soil. And the people who do this regularly, who maintain that physical connection to the ground, they seem to have better sleep, less inflammation, more stable moods, better overall health. And it costs nothing. Takes minutes, requires no equipment or expertise. Just contact, skin to earth, simple as that, but nobody tells people this. Nobody says take your shoes off and walk on grass for 5 minutes a day. It sounds too alternative, too unscientific, too strange. And yet the people who do it naturally, who garden or walk barefoot or sit on the ground regularly, they age better. And that's not coincidence. That's pattern. That's cause and effect, even if the mechanism isn't fully understood. As the years continued, another habit became visible. Another practice so simple it seemed meaningless, talking to people, every single day. Not long conversations necessarily, just regular human contact, regular use of voice and language and connection. There was a woman who lived alone, a widow, and she made it a point to have an actual conversation with someone every single day. Sometimes it was a phone call to a friend. Sometimes it was a chat with a cashier. Sometimes it was a long conversation over coffee. But every day she used her voice, connected with another human, engaged in real communication. And here's what most people miss. The brain exercise that comes from daily conversation is more effective than any puzzle or brain game. Real human interaction, real back and forth communication keeps the mind sharper than any other single activity. That woman stayed sharp as a tack well into her late 80s. Clear, articulate, memory intact, personality vibrant. And that daily conversation habit was a huge part of why. Because conversation requires so much of the brain, requires finding words, understanding context, reading social cues, expressing complex thoughts, listening actively, all of it exercising the mind in ways that solitary activities just don't. But nobody tells people to talk to someone every day. It's too obvious, too social, too dependent on other people. And yet, its impact on cognitive aging is enormous. There's something else that became clear watching people age well. The ones who used their hands for detailed work, who knitted or built models or drew or did woodworking or any activity that required fine motor control and focused attention. Those people maintained hand function and cognitive function that others lost. There was a man who built model airplanes, tiny detailed models, and at 87 his hands were still steady. His focus still sharp, his mind still clear, while many of his peers were struggling with tremors and confusion and decline. That detailed handwork kept his brain engaged, kept his neural pathways active, kept his fine motor control sharp, kept his hand-eye coordination functioning. And all of those things together created a kind of resilience against decline, a buffer, a protection, from something as simple as building models in his spare time. But nobody prescribes hobbies. Nobody says take up needlework or model building or detailed drawing. It's not medical. It's not official. It's not something that fits in a prescription pad. And so it goes unmentioned. And people lose function they could have kept. Another memory surfaces now. The habit of standing up from chairs without using hands. This sounds like such a small thing, barely worth mentioning. But the people who maintained this ability, who could still stand from a seated position using only their legs, those people maintained independence and mobility that others lost. There was a woman who made it a practice. Every time she sat down and stood up, she did it without pushing off with her hands, just using leg strength. And at 78, she could still do it easily, could still get out of a chair without assistance, could still move through her environment independently. That simple practice kept her leg muscles strong, kept her balance good, kept her confident in her body, prevented the fear of falling that limits so many older people. And it took no extra time, no gym, no equipment, just the choice to use legs fully every time she stood up. But nobody tells people this. Nobody says stand up without your hands every single time. It's too simple, too obvious, too small. And yet, this single habit can be the difference between independence and needing assistance, between confidence and fear, between mobility and limitation. I remember another habit that seemed so small but mattered so much: morning sunlight. Getting outside in the morning, within an hour of waking, just for a few minutes, just enough to get natural light on the face. There was a woman who sat on her porch every morning with her coffee for 10 or 15 minutes, just sitting, drinking coffee, watching the morning. And she slept better than anyone I knew, went to bed at the same time every night, woke at the same time every morning, never struggled with insomnia, never needed medication for sleep, just natural, healthy sleep patterns that she maintained into her 80s. That morning, sunlight set her circadian rhythm, told her body it was day, started all the hormonal cascades that create healthy wake-sleep cycles. And that healthy sleep, in turn, affected everything else: mood, energy, healing, memory, immune function, all of it improved by sleep. And all of that sleep improved by the simple habit of getting morning sunlight. But nobody tells people this. Nobody says, sit outside with morning light on your face for 10 minutes every day. It's too simple, too free, too unmedical. And so people struggle with sleep, take medications, suffer the consequences, all while missing the simple intervention that could help. There's another habit that became visible over time. The people who aged well touched other people, hugged, held hands, had physical contact, not in any inappropriate way, just normal human touch. The grandmother who hugged her grandchildren, the couple who held hands while walking, the friends who greeted each other with embraces, all of them aging better than those who'd become touch-isolated, who lived alone and had no physical contact with other humans for days or weeks at a time. And here's something that surprised many people when they learned it. People who are touched regularly have measurably lower stress hormones and inflammation markers than those who aren't. Human touch, skin-to-skin contact, affects aging at a cellular level. Touch matters, affects stress hormones, affects immune function, affects mood, affects inflammation, all of it impacted by something as simple as regular physical contact with other humans. But modern aging often means isolation, means living alone, means going days without touching another person. And that isolation, that touch starvation, accelerates aging in ways that are only beginning to be understood. The people who maintain regular touch, who hug and hold hands and have physical contact, they age slower, look better, feel better, live better, all from something completely free and completely human. As time moved forward, another pattern emerged. The people who maintained regular routines aged better than those who let structure disappear. Having a time to wake up, a time for meals, a time for certain activities. That predictable structure, that rhythm to the day, created stability that affected everything. There was a man who ate breakfast at the same time every morning, took a walk at the same time every afternoon, went to bed at the same time every night, and his body functioned like a well-oiled machine, digestion regular, sleep consistent, energy predictable, mood stable, all from the simple regularity of routine. The body likes predictability, likes knowing what to expect, likes regular meal times and wake times and sleep times. And when it gets that regularity, it functions better. Hormones regulate better. Metabolism works better. Healing happens better. Everything just works more smoothly. But when routine disappears, when someone retires and suddenly has no structure at all, when meal times are random and sleep times are erratic and nothing is predictable, the body struggles, and aging accelerates. But nobody tells people to maintain routine. Nobody says keep regular wake and sleep times even after retirement. It's too simple, too obvious, too unsexy. And yet, its impact on how well someone ages is substantial. There's something else I think about often now. The people who aged well ate real food. Food that looked like food. Food that could be identified. An apple looked like an apple. Chicken looked like chicken. Vegetables looked like vegetables. They weren't eating from boxes and bags filled with ingredients they couldn't pronounce. They were eating simple, recognizable food, and their bodies functioned better for it. There was a couple who cooked almost everything from scratch, not fancy cooking, just simple meals made from basic ingredients. And both of them maintained healthy weight and good health and clear minds well into their 80s. While many of their peers, eating processed convenience foods, struggled with weight and health and cognitive issues. Real food provides what the body needs. provides nutrients in forms the body recognizes, provides fiber and vitamins and minerals that processed food strips away. And the body, when fed real food consistently, ages better, maintains better function, fights disease better, stays healthier longer. But nobody tells people to eat real food, or they say it so vaguely that it doesn't land. They don't say if it comes in a box with 10 ingredients you can't pronounce, don't eat it. They don't make it that simple, that clear. And so people eat processed food because it's convenient and age faster because of it. Another memory returns to me now. The habit of moving throughout the day, not exercising, not working out, just moving, getting up regularly, walking around, stretching, shifting position. Not sitting for hours at a time. There was a woman who never sat for more than an hour without getting up. She'd stand, walk to the window, stretch, get some water, do something, just break up the sitting. And she maintained mobility and energy that people who sat all day lost. The body wasn't designed for prolonged sitting, wasn't made to be still for hours. It's made to move, to shift, to change position. And when it gets that regular movement, even just small movements throughout the day, it stays functional, stays mobile, stays pain-free. But when it sits for long periods, things start to hurt, start to stiffen, start to decline, but nobody tells people to move every hour. Nobody says set a timer and stand up and move for 2 minutes every 60 minutes. It's too simple, too obvious, too much of an interruption, and so people sit and stiffen and lose mobility and accept it as aging when really it's just sitting. I remember another person who aged remarkably well, a woman who sang, not professionally, not even particularly well. She just sang, hummed while doing dishes, sang along with the radio in the car, sang in the shower, used her voice regularly. And she stayed articulate and clear-spoken and cognitively sharp well into her 90s, while many of her peers were losing language, struggling to find words, dealing with cognitive decline. She stayed sharp. And that regular singing, that constant use of voice and breathing and music and language all together, kept her brain active in ways that protected against decline. Singing uses so many parts of the brain at once: memory for lyrics, language processing, breath control, rhythm, emotion, all of it firing together, all of it creating neural activity that keeps the brain healthy. But nobody tells people to sing every day. Nobody says use your voice musically as often as possible. It's too frivolous, too unscientific, too strange as health advice. And yet the people who sing regularly, who use their voices for music, they maintain cognitive function better than those who don't. There's another habit that stood out over time. The people who spent time with younger people, who didn't only socialize with people their own age, who maintained relationships with children, with grandchildren, with younger friends and neighbors. Those people stayed mentally young, stayed current, stayed engaged with the world in ways that people who only socialized with age peers didn't. There was a man who volunteered at a local school, helped kids with reading, and being around those children, hearing their language, keeping up with their references, adapting to their energy, all of it kept his mind flexible and young, kept him from the mental rigidity that so often comes with aging. Being only with age peers can create an echo chamber, can create a world where everyone moves slowly and talks about the past and accepts decline as normal. But being with younger people disrupts that, creates energy, creates challenge, creates the need to keep up, to stay current, to remain flexible. And all of that creates resilience against aging. But nobody tells older people to seek out younger company. In fact, society often segregates by age. But the people who resist that segregation, who maintain cross-generational connections, they age better. As the years accumulated, another simple habit became visible. Learning the names of things, birds, trees, plants, stars, anything. Just the practice of identifying and naming things in the environment. There was a man who learned birds, bought a field guide, started identifying the birds he saw, learning their names, their calls, their habits. And that practice, that attention to detail, that memory work, kept his mind sharp in ways that passive entertainment never could. He could identify dozens of birds by sight and sound, could tell you about their behaviors and habitats, and his memory for other things stayed sharp too. His mind stayed active and engaged. Learning names, identifying things, paying attention to detail, all of it exercises the brain in important ways. Exercises memory. Exercises attention. Exercises the ability to distinguish subtle differences. And all of that creates cognitive reserve, creates protection against decline. But nobody tells people to learn the names of birds or trees or constellations. It's too specific, too hobby-like, too outside the realm of health advice. And yet, its impact on maintaining cognitive function is significant. There's something else that became clear through observation. The people who could admit when they were wrong, who could change their minds, who stayed mentally flexible, they aged better cognitively than those who became rigid and certain and closed. Mental flexibility and cognitive aging are intimately connected. The willingness to learn new things, to consider new ideas, to say, "I was wrong about that," keeps the brain active and adaptable. There was a woman who was always learning, always open to new information, always willing to change her opinion when presented with good reasons. And she stayed mentally sharp and interesting and engaged well into her late 80s, while others her age had become rigid and closed and seemingly unable to learn anything new. That mental flexibility, that openness, that willingness to be wrong and change, it's a habit, a practice, a way of being, and it can be chosen, can be cultivated, can be maintained. And doing so protects against cognitive aging in powerful ways. Another memory surfaces now. The habit of using the non-dominant hand for small tasks, brushing teeth with the other hand, stirring coffee with the other hand, opening doors with the other hand, just small tasks throughout the day done with the hand that usually doesn't do them. There was a man who did this, had read somewhere that it was good for the brain, so he practiced it. And at 79, his mind was as sharp as someone 20 years younger. Clear, quick, adaptive. While many of his peers were struggling with memory and processing speed. Using the non-dominant hand forces the brain to work differently, forces new neural pathways to form, forces attention and focus and adaptation. And all of that brain work creates resilience, creates cognitive reserve, creates protection against decline, and it costs nothing, takes no extra time, just the choice to use the other hand for simple tasks throughout the day. But nobody mentions this. Nobody says brush your teeth with your other hand. It's too strange, too unusual, too hard to explain in a medical context. And yet, its impact on maintaining cognitive function is real. I remember another simple habit that made a big difference. Sitting on the floor, getting down on the floor regularly, and getting back up again. There was a woman who sat on the floor to watch television, to read, to play with grandchildren. And that regular practice of getting down and getting up maintained mobility and strength that chair sitters lost. She could move from standing to floor and back to standing smoothly and confidently well into her 70s. While many people her age couldn't get down to the floor at all without assistance and couldn't get back up without help, the ability to get down to the floor and back up again is a powerful predictor of longevity and independence. It requires strength, balance, flexibility, and coordination all working together. And the practice of doing it regularly maintains all of those things, keeps them active, keeps them functional, prevents the loss that comes from not using them. But modern life doesn't require floor sitting. Chairs are everywhere, and so this ability disappears. Unless someone makes it a practice, makes it a habit, chooses to sit on the floor regularly just to maintain the ability to do so. There's another habit that stood out watching people age. The people who maintained a sense of wonder, who still noticed beauty, who still felt amazement at small things, who hadn't become jaded or cynical or numb to the world. Those people aged with more joy, more vitality, more aliveness. There was a woman who always noticed sunsets, would stop whatever she was doing, go to the window or step outside, just to watch, just to appreciate. And that practice, that regular attention to beauty, that maintained sense of wonder, kept her emotional life rich, kept her engaged with the world, kept her feeling alive even as her body aged. Wonder and awe have measurable effects on well-being, on stress, on inflammation, on immune function. The experience of awe, of being moved by beauty or vastness or complexity, shifts the body's physiology in positive ways. And the people who maintain regular access to that experience, who seek it out, who notice it, they age better, feel better, live with more joy. But nobody tells people to notice sunsets, to seek out beauty, to maintain wonder. It's too poetic, too unmeasurable, too outside the realm of medical advice. And yet its impact on quality of life while aging is profound. As time continued forward, all of these habits started to connect, started to form a picture. The picture of aging well wasn't about expensive interventions or complicated protocols. It was about simple daily choices, about water and breathing and movement and touch and real food and routine and connection and learning and flexibility and wonder. All of it available to everyone, all of it free or nearly free, all of it simple enough that a child could understand. And yet, all of it powerful enough to change how aging happens, to slow it, to soften it, to make it gentler and kinder and more graceful. The tragedy is how many people don't know this, don't realize that their daily choices matter this much, don't understand that the small, simple things they do or don't do every single day are determining how they'll age. Don't know that drinking water consistently matters more than any expensive supplement. That chewing thoroughly matters more than any trendy diet. That moving regularly matters more than any workout program. That touching the ground matters. That talking to people matters. That using hands for detailed work matters. That all of it matters, deeply, significantly, measurably. And the medical system mostly doesn't mention these things because they're not billable, not prescribable, not profitable, not measurable in the ways that medicine values. And so doctors tell people about medications and surgeries and treatments. But they don't mention that drinking water throughout the day will do more for skin aging than any cream. That chewing food thoroughly will do more for digestion than any supplement. That breathing deeply several times a day will do more for stress than any medication. That standing up without using hands will do more for independence than any assistive device. All of it overlooked, all of it hidden in plain sight, all of it available but unmentioned. The people who discover these habits, who practice them naturally or intentionally, they age differently. They look different, feel different, function different, live different. And when they share their secrets, when they try to explain what they do, it sounds too simple. Sounds like it can't possibly be the answer. Sounds like there must be something more, something secret, something complicated, something expensive. But there isn't. The answer really is that simple: water, breathing, chewing, moving, touching earth, talking to people, using hands, standing from chairs, morning sunlight, physical contact, routine, real food, cross-generational connection. learning names. Mental flexibility, non-dominant hand use, floor sitting, wonder, all of it simple, all of it accessible, all of it powerful. And the beautiful thing is that it's never too late to start. Someone at 65 who starts drinking water consistently will see skin improvements within weeks. Someone at 70 who starts chewing thoroughly will notice better digestion quickly. Someone at 75 who starts breathing deeply will feel calmer almost immediately. Someone at 80 who starts standing without using hands will build leg strength noticeably. All of it possible at any age, all of it creating change, all of it slowing aging, all of it available right now. The question becomes, why wait? Why not start with one simple habit, just one? Drinking water throughout the day, or chewing food thoroughly, or breathing deeply a few times daily, or touching the ground regularly, just one. And then, when that becomes natural, adding another, and then another. Building slowly a collection of simple daily practices that together create remarkable aging. Create the kind of aging that makes people ask, "What's your secret?" And the answer is these things. These simple, free, overlooked, powerful things that were hidden in plain sight all along. If this perspective opened something, if these observations offered hope or direction or just confirmation of what was already suspected, I'd be grateful for a like and subscribe. There are more honest conversations here. More observations about living well at any age. More reminders that the most powerful practices are often the simplest ones. Thank you for staying with me through this. And may these simple habits find their way into daily life, creating health and vitality that lasts for decades to come.